well, I was going to try to do a little bit more. I was enjoying what I was doing.
I know that's not really nice to say about a person, but they were basically an object.
Not very good for her, probably good for me.
Saudações. Bem-vindo ao canal Terror. Hoje, mergulhamos na mente sombria dos serial killers mais perturbadores da história. Em entrevistas reais, suas palavras revelam horrores inimagináveis, deixando um rastro de arrepios. Prepare-se para conhecer os segredos que eles tentaram esconder, até agora. Na noite de 13 de novembro de 1989, a polícia de Camas, Washington, foi chamada ao New Liberty Theatre, a leste de Vancouver. De acordo com o relato, um homem havia tentado carregar um menino para fora do prédio. Após o garoto contar à mãe o que aconteceu, o namorado dela rastreou o sequestrador a algumas quadras dali. Ele o conteve até a chegada da polícia. Embora o namorado assumisse que o homem estava bêbado, o policial que realizou a prisão o identificou como Westley Dodd. Mal sabia ele que Dodd também era um assassino de crianças em série.
I kidnapped 3 little boys, 4-year-old, 10-year-old, and 11-year-old. 2 of them were raped, and then I killed all 3 of them. I didn't just go out and start killing. Everything started happening when I was just 13 years old. See, things kept progressing. I kept getting away with all these crimes. Well, I was going to try to do a little bit more. I was enjoying what I was doing. At the time, I was laughing at them. I mean, hey, great, I could do anything I want. Anything. So that was my original reason for killing, was so that they couldn't report what I'd done, who had done it. But I wasn't sure I could kill, so in my mind, I had to make that exciting. I had to fantasize about it. And to be able to kill, I had to make that thought exciting. And in a matter of just a couple of weeks, I was able to do that, and I was ready to kill. I wanted to kill. And told them, okay, there's just one more thing I want to do before I let you guys go. I pulled the knife back out of my sock, reached over and stabbed Billy near the younger one. Got him in the stomach. I didn't see the knife go in. I don't know if I felt more than saw that I'd hit him. I don't know. I knew I'd stabbed him, but wasn't sure exactly where. I knew it was in the stomach area. And then I turned to Cole and started stabbing him before he could get away. I stabbed Cole 3 times. Billy had gotten up and ran. I caught him, stabbed him 2 more times, and as I was stabbing him, as I caught him and stopped him, he told me, "I'm sorry." After all that had happened, all planning and fantasies and everything, I can't believe I actually did it. I actually killed somebody. I killed 2 little boys. And I just became obsessed with it at that point. I mean, that is all I thought about. Every minute I was awake, I had dreams about it. At work, that's all I thought about. And it was only 7 weeks after I'd murdered the 2 Near brothers that I went into Portland, found a 4-year-old boy, kind of off by himself, asked him if he wanted to play some games, have some fun. He wasn't sure about it, but I reached out my hand, and just kind of an automatic response, he reached out and took my hand. And that was it. He went with me. So I took Lee Isley back to my apartment. This was on October 29th. Immediately had him take his clothes off, tied him to the bed, took a photograph of him tied up, let him loose, told him, okay, now I'm going to teach you how to make love like grown-ups do. About 3 o'clock or so in the morning, while I was molesting him, I kind of whispered in his ear, "I'm going to kill you in the morning." I wasn't sure if he was even awake when I said it, but he kind of mumbled, "What?" And I repeated, I said, "I'm going to kill you in the morning." And then he said, "No, you're not." And I said, "Okay, I won't." I thought about tying him up and gagging him and leaving him there while I was at work. And again, the landlady might come in and find him. So I decided, well, I have to do it now. I have to kill him now. And with my right hand, I started choking him. Using the rope, I lifted him up and carried him over to my bedroom closet, pushed the clothes aside, and tied the ends of the rope around the bar in the closet and left him hanging there while I got ready for work. I started writing about cannibalism, kidnapping, moving to a different place where I could kidnap kids and keep them and use them for as long as I wanted. I'd have kept on doing it, and the things I would have done would have been even worse than murder. Hanging, that's the way I'm going to go. I'm going to hang, because that's the way Lee Isley died. I don't think I deserve a neat, clean, painless little death. Actually, it's not really that I want to die as much as I know I have to, because I know I won't stop killing.
Pouco depois da meia-noite de 5 de janeiro de 1993, Dodd teve seu pedido de execução por enforcamento atendido. Vários anos após o zodíaco aterrorizar o norte da Califórnia, a mesma região foi aterrorizada pelo Estripador da I-5, assim nomeado porque os corpos de suas vítimas foram encontrados ao longo da Interstate 5 e de suas estradas adjacentes. O estripador assassinou pelo menos 7 mulheres jovens entre 1977 e 1987. Diferentemente do zodíaco, no entanto, o assassino foi eventualmente identificado e preso. Em 10 de maio de 1991, Roger Kibbe, de 52 anos, foi condenado à prisão perpétua pelo assassinato de Darcy Frackenpole, de 17 anos. Embora fosse suspeito de outra série de assassinatos, foi apenas em 2000 que evidências de DNA confirmaram sua conexão. Em troca de escapar da pena de morte, Kibbe concordou em ajudar os investigadores a localizar os restos mortais de Lou Ellen Burley.
If I understand correctly, Ms. Burley was your first homicide in 1977.
77, first one.
Start at the beginning of what was going on in your life that week and that day and how this came about.
Curiosity got me.
Now, when you met her the first time, this girl, what were you thinking you might do?
I might have been thinking, can I get away with this?
And then we get away with what?
Get away with her.
Well, what were you going to do? Were you going to rape her?
Have sex with her, yeah. Kidnap her, rape her, have sex, kill her.
How did you feel about killing her?
First time I ever did it.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
I don't know. I felt bad later. I did it, thinking about it. But while it was happening, blank mind. Don't think of anything. It's like a fog.
How'd you feel about the rape part of it?
I knew what I was doing was wrong. And if it's wrong, you can't like it.
A lot of people like doing things they know are wrong.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
If you had to rate that as a sexual experience from 1 to 10, where 10's the best, how's it go?
Probably an 8. Anything below that, below 8, almost has to be on her part. I got a headache, I don't want to do it.
So would having sex with this kidnapping victim be the equivalent of pushing your wife into having sex with you even though she has a headache and says she doesn't want to?
Right.
That's about the quality of the sex for you?
Not very good for her, probably good for me.
When they asked you why you killed Lou Ellen Burley, your first murder victim, you said it was just to see if it could be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's that mean?
You make a plan, see if you can carry it out, see if it can be done. That's all. It's like stacking bricks.
Do you see it as a challenge?
Mm-hmm.
So you're given the answer like, why do you climb Mount Everest?
Because it's there.
Em uma reviravolta irônica, o estripador da I-5 foi estrangulado até a morte por seu companheiro de cela. Em 8 de março de 1987, o Dr. Lee Lehman iniciou o que acreditava ser uma autópsia padrão em John Powell, de 44 anos. Powell estava em coma no Hospital Memorial Drake de Cincinnati há 1 ano. Enquanto Lehman estava prestes a determinar a causa da morte, ele detectou o odor de amêndoas amargas típico do cianeto. Suspeitando de crime, a equipe de homicídios de Cincinnati iniciou uma investigação sobre Donald Harvey, o enfermeiro que encontrou Powell morto. Embora a conclusão inicial fosse de que Harvey era o único responsável pela morte de Powell, ele foi eventualmente condenado pela morte de 36 vítimas ao longo de 17 anos.
What I was doing, I thought was right. And the patients that I took care of, I like to think, I made their passing easy. They didn't have a choice, and sometimes there was no family there to make that choice for them. And I made it for them. I was being the judge and the jury and executioner. There was 15 deaths when I was 18.
There's already been 15?
No, when I went to work in the hospital, the year between I was 18 to I was 19, there was 15 deaths.
And you mentioned one time the pillowcase. What are the other methods?
I started using morphine because it wasn't controlled that much in Kentucky, especially in small hospitals in the 1970s. And I did unplug a couple of ventilators. I used cyanide, I used arsenic, I used adhesive cleaner, a plastic bag too.
Were you experimenting, or was it just whatever was available?
I wanted the quickest method of death.
Well, did you consider them victims, by the way? The patients?
No, I don't consider them. They were my patients. I never looked at it as murder till I was actually arrested. I always looked at it as mercy.
But they weren't all mercy.
No, they weren't
all mercy. Now, the first death will occur at about 18 years of age with you. Can you tell me about that, how that happened?
Just one guy, he'd had a stroke. He had an IV in, and he got the IV out, and the sister told me to go and clean up the bed and change the IV, take it out because it was empty. And when I went to pull back the sheet, he covered me in stool within his hand, and I smothered him to death.
How did you do that?
With a pillow. I wasn't going to take any more. I mean, I'd had enough. And when he put the stool in my face was the breaking point.
You believe that? That's what happened?
It started me on the roller coaster, which I couldn't get off.
And what about the business with the animals?
I killed my bird. My mom told me I had to take it back because it wouldn't survive.
Yeah.
It was just a little tiny thing. And I refused to give it up, so I killed it with a hole. And I also took the neighbor man's 2 cows later on. I was about 16. No, it was right before I graduated from high school. I took them out into the woods and slit their throat. That was the only thing I ever did for his animals.
Do you consider yourself a sociopath?
Well, that's what most people consider me.
What do you think?
I'm just Donald Harvey.
Yeah.
I haven't changed a bit. I have been rehabilitated. I'm ready to go back to the streets.
Enquanto Harvey escapou da pena de morte, ele não escapou da execução. Em 30 de março de 2017, o assassino foi brutalmente espancado por seu companheiro de cela. Na UTI, Harvey encontrou-se na mesma posição que suas vítimas. Ao longo de sua notável carreira, o agente aposentado do FBI, John Douglas, conheceu vários assassinos em busca de entender sua psicologia. De todos que entrevistou, ele afirmou que Gary Heidnik, residente da Filadélfia, era um dos piores. O auto-intitulado Bispo da Igreja dos Ministros de Deus, Heidnik atacava mulheres negras com deficiência mental ou transtornos psicológicos. Mas não importavam os métodos, suas vítimas sempre o deixavam ou eram levadas dele. Para evitar isso, Heidnik construiu um calabouço improvisado, cavando um buraco de 1,2 metro de profundidade no porão de sua casa. A primeira vítima desse calabouço foi Josefina Rivera, uma prostituta de 26 anos. Em 25 de novembro de 1986, Rivera precisava urgentemente de dinheiro quando Heidnik a pagou para ir à sua casa. Quando ela se preparava para sair, ele a estrangulou abruptamente até que ficasse inconsciente. Nua e algemada, Rivera foi forçada a entrar no pequeno buraco. Sua próxima lembrança foi ouvir os gritos da mais nova prisioneira de Heidnik, Sandra Lindsay, de 24 anos. Nos meses seguintes, as duas foram acompanhadas por outras 3 jovens. Escravizadas no porão, eram estupradas e espancadas diariamente. Se resistissem, Heidnik lhes perfurava os ouvidos com uma chave de fenda. Consequentemente, Rivera começou a cumprir todos os comandos e gradualmente ganhou sua confiança. Com o tempo, ela conquistou liberdade suficiente para sair da casa sob o pretexto de trazer outra vítima. Em vez disso, Rivera chamou a polícia de um telefone público. Embora os policiais desconfiassem de sua história, uma busca no porão de Heidnik confirmou a verdade. Assim como Rivera relatara, apenas 3 das garotas ainda estavam vivas. Tragicamente, Sandra e Deborah Dudley, de 23 anos, haviam sido assassinadas por desobedecerem.
How much verbal exchange did you have with the girls down there in the basement?
At first, I tried to make it nice, right?
Yeah, how did you do that, Gary?
I was holding parties there for one thing. I had a Christmas party and a New Year's party. 8, they go down in the hole in the morning. Board goes over the top of the hole with the sandbags and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then they stay down there till roughly about 8 at night. Okay. Now, on this particular day...
Got a radio down here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Playing real loud?
Yes.
Why is that? To drown out any noise?
Right.
In case because you're leaving the house sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, so you don't
that was a conscious act on my part, and that was essentially the reason.
To drown out that noise, for sure.
Well, they might like a little entertainment, too. You know? Nothing was working. I was trying to find something that worked that would make them shut up to stop hollering.
So
I could stop
progressive kind of infliction of pain on these women.
I was trying to find something that would make them behave.
But it was painful to them.
I hope so. I'm sitting there, you know, trying to figure out what the hell to do, you know? What the to do, you know? I started chopping up the body.
Apesar de alegações de insanidade clínica, Heidnik foi condenado à morte em 2 de julho de 1988. Na tarde de 15 de maio de 1985, Rima Traxler, de 8 anos, desapareceu enquanto caminhava para a casa da escola primária Washington. De acordo com um vizinho, a garota de Longview sumiu a cerca de 2 quarteirões de sua casa. Temendo o pior, a mãe de Rima pediu ajuda a um amigo da família. Esse amigo era Joseph Kondro, um operário de 25 anos. 14 anos depois, Kondro confessou o estupro e estrangulamento de Rima. No momento da confissão, ele estava sendo julgado pelo assassinato de Cara Hood, de 12 anos.
Yeah, I knew Kara for a while. We'd play cards together and stuff.
How would you describe her person? I mean, as a kid?
She was very energetic, but she was very defiant too when she believed in things. That morning when I woke up, I knew what I was going to do. I was completely aware of what I wanted to do. I drove to the school and I pulled into the parking lot. Kara jumped in my car.
What's the exchange between you and her? And
there wasn't really much of an exchange. I just drove her out to the house and we talked a little bit.
But happy though, right? I mean, it's not. She doesn't know she's in danger.
No, she doesn't know she's like I said. I was playing on my victim's trust, and that's a big thing. You know, when you do these kind of crimes, is the person has to trust you for you to lure them in.
Why a child? I mean, what's the motive behind this?
I think it's just the convenience of the situation. You know, children are very trusting, and I was very close to their family members, and you know, I played their trust.
Basically, it's an easy target.
It was an easy target at the time. Yeah.
What finally was the stressor that you're going to commit a crime, and it's going to be this child, or, you know, Reamer?
It was an impulsive reaction, so I just, you know, I went down, took her down to my house, and I told her to stay in the pickup, and I went in the house. I called work and said I wouldn't be in that day, and drove her out to Germany Creek and raped and murdered her.
At what point it really kind of tipped you over where now you began to act out the fantasies?
I don't know, 13, maybe 12, 13 years old. One night, there was this girl that was working at a local neighborhood store, and I went to the store after they shut down at 11 o'clock, and I asked her for a ride, and she said, sure, and she got me into her car, and, you know, I pulled a knife on her and stuff. She cried and stuff like that, and please don't do this, and I didn't do it. I didn't go through with it, no.
So you stopped, you felt sorry for her?
Yeah, I did.
You didn't expect her to cry. You didn't expect her to react that way.
Yeah,
and it was kind of a turn off.
Later, I overcame those, feelings. My fantasy was just to rape and murder my victims. That was the whole fantasy part of it. The police department, investigations, that was part of it. But my murders, they were like the high point. The fantasy is only a motivation. There's nothing better than the act itself.
Had you not been identified, would you have kept going?
Yeah.
You would have kept killing?
Yeah. I felt real comfortable about killing. I mean, killing for me was just like second nature now. I just kept on going.
No regrets back to 1985 with your first victim? Any regrets there?
No.
How about 1996?
Yeah, I would have took her out to a different spot.
So she wouldn't have been found?
Well, that was the idea. That was the intention.
Em 1996, 13 anos após sua sentença de 55 anos de prisão, Kondro morreu de doença hepática. Em uma última injustiça, ele provavelmente levou consigo os nomes de outras vítimas. Por 2 décadas, Wichita, Kansas, viveu com medo constante do BTK. Então, em 1991, ele desapareceu. 13 anos depois, o assassino ressurgiu com uma sucessão de comunicações enigmáticas. A 11ª e última veio na forma de um pacote. Além de uma carta, o pacote continha um disquete. Com base nos metadados do disco, a polícia de Wichita rastreou-o até um computador na Igreja Luterana de Cristo. Uma rápida pesquisa revelou que Dennis Rader era o presidente da igreja, o mesmo nome do último usuário do disco. Qualquer dúvida restante de que Rader não era o BTK foi dissipada quando o DNA de sua filha coincidiu com amostras de 3 cenas de crime. Para sua filha, a revelação de que seu pai era um assassino era incompreensível. O mesmo homem amado pela família havia, décadas antes, assassinado uma. Essa família era os Otero, as primeiras das 10 vítimas conhecidas de Rader. Na tarde de 15 de janeiro de 1974, Charlie Otero, de 15 anos, voltou para casa e encontrou a cozinha em desordem. Ao gritar para saber se havia alguém, Charlie ouviu a irmã pedindo ajuda. No andar de cima, ele a encontrou no quarto dos pais. Do lado de fora da porta, Charlie viu o corpo do pai ao lado da cama. Sua mãe estava no colchão. Tanto Joseph quanto Julie Otero haviam sido amarrados e estrangulados. Com a chegada da polícia, Charlie os avisou para interceptarem seus irmãos mais novos antes que voltassem para casa. O que ele não sabia era que Joseph Jr., de 9 anos, e Josie, de 11, já estavam na casa.
So anyway, they became a potential target.
So they were convenient.
Convenient.
How did they fuel the sexual fantasy then? Was there anything specific about that?
Mrs. Otero was attractive, and then I saw Josephine too, and the door opened. So here I am, So do I just walk out the back door, they call the police, or I go for it? And I went for it. I went in, I think it was a younger Otero. They were all in the kitchen, they were making sandwiches.
Male or female?
No, it was the younger, the junior, Joseph. Mr. Otero actually stepped up and told him I was coming for some food. I was wanted in California, I needed some food and water and some money and transportation. That was my ruse to kind of calm him down. He kind of laughed a little bit and he said, "Well, this is a joke. Who said you were my brother-in-law?" And that's probably was their demise. If they probably struggled and fought with me, that would have been a different story. But they felt fairly comfortable. So that's what I was going to do. Okay. Well, I'm a bad guy. I care for people, I have concerns for people. So, and I hadn't really crossed that path yet where I was going to kill the people yet, so I was still in concern mode. And then I went in the other room and I thought, do I just leave or what? They already know me, my face, so I went back and put a plastic bag over Mr. Otero's head and put a garnet over his neck and pulled up on it, and that's when it really hit the fan then, because they all could see what I was doing.
And kids were watching this?
Yes, they were watching it. They were screaming and hollering.
Did you want to move them from the scene at all?
No.
Nothing.
I had to get in control. It was really noisy. They were screaming and.
The noise was bothering you?
Yeah, the noise was bothering me, and I knew the mailman would be out there or somebody would be walking by, so I had to control it very quickly. It was just something that I had to do. Once I started with Mr. Otero, I knew I had to do all 4 of them. Sexual fantasy is if I'm going to kill a victim or do something to a victim, is have them bound and tied. Now, somewhere along the line, in my dreams, I had what they call torture chambers, and to relieve your sexual fantasies, you have to go to the kill. And I don't think it was actually the person that I was after. I think it was the dream. I know that's not really nice to say about a person, but they were basically an object. They were just an object. That's all it were. I had more satisfaction building up to it and afterwards than I did the actual killing of the person.
It almost sounds like that's something separate and apart, like a different person.
Yeah, it's part of the compartment. I can switch back and forth, and once this character takes over, whatever it is, it drives me onward.
You can't stop it.
I can't stop it. It's just, it controls me. You know, it's like it's in the driver's seat.
Essas entrevistas são vislumbre perturbador do que se passa nas mentes mais sombrias da humanidade. E você? O que faria se estivesse frente a frente com um deles? Deixe nos comentários sua opinião e compartilhe o que mais te impactou. Ainda há tantas histórias sombrias esperando para serem contadas. Lembre-se, às vezes, a realidade é mais assustadora do que a ficção. Até a próxima, se tiver coragem.